Dane and Derek is an uncensored, unfiltered podcast. You can find content warnings in the episode description. Thank you for listening. Hey everybody, welcome back to Dane and Derek. We're back to our usual shoot the shit kind of podcast vibes. Excuse my French, and I'm very sorry, Randolph. I know your girls listen to this podcast. This probably should be the one not to have them listen to because we're probably going to be swearing a lot. We haven't done a good old-fashioned shoot the shit and catch up in a while, haven't we, Dane?
No, we have not.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of like very conversational episodes, but they've been like centered around something. You know, we recently talked to Jen, and before that, we had our 100th, and that was very shoot the shit, but very specific shoot the shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it was like we knew our agenda. It was kind of talking about the show from its entirety. This is just like kind of what we've done every now and then this season, where we take like the first 10 minutes of an episode to talk and catch up, because of just the space of which between each recording, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so yeah, we're just gonna do an actual catch up.
Yeah. You know what's funny though? This is probably the shortest span between recordings we've had in a long time.
Yeah.
Which I think is a little funny. It's not going to work out that way in the episodes, I don't think, but that's the nature of production. So, you know, what's new? What's good?
What's new? Well, I've been very busy. I think it's been a interesting summer, kind of juggling work, which has been full steam ahead. Part of what's made today kind of pressed for time for all of our recording is because, I was like an hour late from work. There's just been a lot of things to do. And I'm sort of in a position where I now have a lot more responsibility, which is great. But that also means I now have to like be very thoughtful about what I am doing day to day and where I'm choosing to put my time, because now there's more things to do. And so sometimes I end up doing something that like, I probably shouldn't have spent an hour coiling cables, but it was needed to support someone else. Or, you know, like I probably need to just set like 2 hours to send like 50 emails or something. So it's just been a lot of adjusting to that and balancing that. In addition to the fact that I was doing a lot, I'm still working on movies and stuff and doing a lot of that work. And I've been very fortunate that I've had some paid freelance audio-visual work through some like community organizations, but that's also been a lot of time in addition to the documentary, in addition to trying to make a short. So it's just been like a lot of juggling to a point where like I'm really starting to wonder if I was ever good at juggling. And I'm now kind of realizing like, oh no, I care a lot more about some of these things. It's easier to juggle things when you care a little less. But when you care about everything, it's a lot harder to juggle. And I've luckily been able to get it to a point where there's only like one or two things that I really have to put a lot of time into, but it is like, it's still a lot of work. And so it's been a lot of like filming, a lot of on-set work, a lot of editing, a lot of like the usual. But I think it's just been a lot of pressure. I've noticed after work and after doing this outside stuff, I just go to bed or I go to the gym, which is maybe the biggest change. I've been going to the gym more frequently. I've been going to the gym at least 3 days a week, the last like month and a half, which is the longest streak I've ever had. So
nice.
Only took a break because I dove into the ocean one day on a beach day and I hit my head on the sand.
Oh, damn.
And so I was like, I probably shouldn't go lift weights where my head is feeling a bit heavy. So
totally. Yeah.
So but it's just been a lot of like things, and I've been trying to just make sure I don't spread too little butter over too much bread, as Bilbo Swaggins would say. How about you though? I feel like you've been working and preparing for law school in addition to a lot of things. So how have you been?
Yeah. Interestingly, I actually have gotten back to the gym myself. I'm only going 2 days a week, and then ideally 1 day of yoga. But the day of yoga has gotten pushed a lot recently. But
Mm.
I'm going with Gracie, my partner, which has been really really fun and wonderful. I haven't had like a gym buddy in a really really long time, and that's been
Aw.
really fun. Um, we're not as far along as you. Like it's almost a month in. It's funny for me because she does not love going to the gym, but like, we're all kind of at the age of like use it or lose it, right? Like where it's like you got to start really taking care of yourself because you can't just count on like fast metabolism. And I hurt
Mhm.
myself yesterday, but I'm gonna be fine tomorrow for much longer.
Right. Yeah, you can't
We're
count on yourself being like rubber.
yeah, the rubber days are coming to a quick end.
Mhm.
Um, so that's been really good. But yeah, you're right. Uh, I've been working at a law firm all summer. And that's been a hell of an experience. And I mean that in all meanings of that phrase. Like it's been fantastic. It's been terrible. Uh, it's been
Mhm.
in between. It's been like kind of like, oh my God, like just like staring at some of like the dark shit of like people, like what people really can do. And also like, wow, I've met some amazing people who are our clients or even like opposing counsel or mediators. My boss is a really amazing person on the whole. Like it's just been like a whole goddamn experience.
Mm.
And I think as I'm like literally in the last 2 weeks of it as we record this, I think I'm gonna go on the record and say I think it's a good one overall. It was a hard one and a challenge, and there were some things that really didn't work for me in the sense, but I
Mhm.
don't think I've come away from anything without some little tidbit of learning. And I feel way more equipped as like someone entering this field. I feel more equipped as just like a person who is going to need to have jobs and work for the rest of my life, and like just kind of as a person. And so that's been cool. I've really appreciated it.
That's
Um,
awesome.
so that's been going well. I've been a little behind the eight ball on getting into school, so um,
Hmm.
I've got to like dot my i's, cross my t's. Got to buy my book soon. Got to do the whole what's the word? Oh yeah, tuition. Like you got to like get my loans in order and like hit the button that
Yeah.
says like please send the money to et cetera, et cetera. So like there's all
Mhm.
that. That's just got to get done. Um, and signed up for classes. I'm going to be TAing again. Haven't TA'd in 5 years about. So looking forward to doing that again. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I'm on one of the law journals, which, um, surprise, surprise, I'd like to do some writing, some research. Love
Hmm.
doing that shit. So gonna be doing that, and so there's been all of that. I've been writing on the whole very consistently. This last week, not really, but I was actually sick all of last week. Um,
Oh, no.
yeah, that's just how life goes sometimes.
Yeah.
So I've been writing consistently. Big like artistic update. Since that's a little more our lane here. Um, I have an editor now. I hired an
Yo,
editor.
what? That's
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, so like I
Congrats.
sent off one of my novels um to be professionally edited. Um and we'll see what like feedback I get and if I need to make some serious edits or if I'm just tinkering around the edges or whatnot. And after
Mm.
that, it'll be I'm not exactly sure. I may start just doing the sending the feelers out because this is just a really long process and it's gonna take a long time to, the next
Yeah.
step's the agent, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so while I'm doing that, I want to be polishing up a few more books. Like my goal is to have like 6 different completed works that I'm feeling good about. And I
Mm.
know that's pretty high. Um,
But that's how you gotta do it, though.
yeah. Like I've been talking with some people, and there's this experience that a lot of them have where it's the agent will read something and they'll be like, I like this, but I don't think I can sell this right now. Do you have anything kind of like this maybe? And then if you don't, you're like, well, shit. And then they're kind of like, well, thanks, sorry, but you can kind of
Yeah.
keep the ball in the air a little bit longer, and get further along. If you're like, okay,
Mhm.
you didn't like that one, but how about this? And
Right,
so,
yeah.
you got to have that. And right now I have two, and I'm working on another thing. And, the trouble is, like, I only have so much time in the day, and writing a novel is even a novella is a thing.
Yeah.
It's not um a brief
It's no easy
exploit.
feat. Yeah,
Yeah, it
definitely. Yeah.
doesn't.
Well, yeah, I mean, say what you will about any art form or, comparing and contrasting. Creating any kind of lengthy piece of art is difficult and it takes time. And sometimes it's not a matter of how many hours you put into it. You just have to, if it's just not the right time to figure it out, you're not going to think of the solution. So it just ends up taking more time.
Absolutely. And like,
And yeah, and that's like, I don't know, that's such a real thing you said, having like the 6 books that you're ready to put to kind of shop around and kind of feel out, because that's something I've observed here in the film industry. Every screenwriter, every director has like a couple of projects in the air in development, you know?
yeah, absolutely. And like, that's the thing, is like, I intend to start as soon as I think I have something that I could take to an agent. I'm just gonna start, like,
Hmm.
to get that ball rolling. But it would be nice to have, while I'm doing that, start building up so that I'm in a better position later on. But yeah, it's been really exciting. It's wonderful to feel like I'm taking that next step. Um,
Hmm.
and so I'm really pleased with that. And I it's been nice to still have my art and still feel like that is a significant part of my life.
Yeah.
Um, and that's been great. And like, as I'm kind of coming up on this next semester, um, it's very interesting to, or let me put it this way. A lot of the time life changes, and it will change kind of drastically from time to time, like, it'll just
Hmm.
be like, and now life is different suddenly, or like, that happens if, like, you get laid off from a job, or you start a new job, or any of those things, but you can't exactly predict it.
Yeah.
It's very odd to again be back in a position in which I'm like, okay, in 2 weeks my life is going to feel and be different. And I saw this coming. I could have told you this time last year that I would be in a shift, right? And I
Yeah.
have one in December, I have one in January, I have one next May, I have one the next August, the next December, the January after that, and then a May after that, right? Like,
Hmm.
and then whenever I get a full-time job, right? Like, it's very strange to be in this, like, I can feel the gear shifts happening in a
Mm-hmm.
very, and that's not even accounting for the rest of life, right? Like, life's going to still throw me some curveballs, period, in
Yeah.
between all this. This is just the stuff I know about. It's just very odd to, like, actually be able to see, like, a gut punch coming, because, like, I'm actually very hopeful about this semester. Like, I got to pick my own classes, so I got to pick my schedule, which means I end my days way earlier than I did the last
Hmm.
2 semesters, because I start way earlier, which is just better for me.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm way more hopeful about my time and my management and all of this stuff. And I'm also still like, even if I'm right, it's gonna fucking suck, like,
Yeah.
it's gonna kind of kick my ass.
No,
Um,
yeah, I feel you.
so yeah, that's roughly where I'm at.
Nice.
And that's just like personal, like, I know we're kind of doing like a short episode or whatever, but like, do you feel anything coming for you that you're like really looking forwards towards, good
Oh
or
man.
bad, or just
Hmm.
change, disruptive?
Yeah, well, I mean, I had something. I got an opportunity at work that was going to
Mm.
be really cool, like a directing thing at work.
Oh.
And then literally last Monday, it got pushed to the following year.
Oh.
And we were going to start prepping this week.
Yeah.
Um like it was like kind of a big deal for me because I was kind of coming into something that wasn't directly my idea, but it
Yeah.
was a field I was interested in. That's as much as I can say about it.
Yeah.
But then it got pushed, and it got pushed for reasons out of my control. And I
Right.
just kept feeling like, yeah, like we just got to keep going. We just got to keep going. We just got to get the roller coaster up the hill, and once it goes down, it'll all be good. And we didn't quite make it up the hill, and now, roller coasters under maintenance.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of like put a hard reset on my brain in terms of like thinking about the projects I do have. Like, I think I've kind of talked about it, but like the documentary, it's like pivoting to another big project that I've been very grateful to have the opportunity for. The documentary is huge. It's a
Mm-hmm.
feature. And like there was a period earlier this summer where I realized my brain hadn't fully wrapped my head around the scope of what that means. Um, I was still kind of thinking about it like, oh, it's just like any other short film I've made. And then
Right.
like I think one day I woke up and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm at 4.5 terabytes of footage and we're not even halfway through filming the film. Like I need to get another drive and I need to start making interviews because I need to have a cut done by this date next year. And we're trying to finish it for this time next year for this release or this event. And it's like, oh my goodness, this is really sneaking up on me. Like I need to take it a bit, not take, yeah, I guess like take it more seriously. Um, and so I've been like grappling with that because I was like, for a long time, I was kind of like, man, like, is anything I'm doing leading to what I want, which is to make features? And then it kind of occurred to me that, in fact, yeah, the shorts I had made were seen by someone who felt that I could be trusted with this story that I'm doing the doc on. And that
Mm-hmm.
like never hit me that was the trajectory.
Yeah.
I kept assuming it was like one thing or another. And I think where I'm at right now is like looking forward to being able to start editing the film come December. Because we wrap the bulk of principal photography October, November.
Mm-hmm.
And by that point, I should have enough footage to start editing in December. Um, and that's really exciting because I think, like, yeah, because then I get to actually see the film come together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. From everything from my limited documentary experience and from talking with a fair number of people who do documentaries over the years, they all, say to me that like you find the documentary, like the film comes together in the edit more than any other type of filmmaking.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm really looking forward to just sitting down and having a project to edit a little bit of every day. Because I think right now, when I'm watching the footage, I'm still kind of lost in how it's going to come together. To kind of go back to like what we were talking about with like your writing, it's like, yeah, sometimes you just don't know what the answer is until a couple days or a couple months later when you look at it.
Yeah.
Um, and I've been very much feeling that kind of limbo. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that's probably been the biggest thing career wise. Personal life wise, I've just been making more time to like take breaks. And I've been looking forward to those. Like I'm like thinking about trying to go up to San Francisco at some point this year.
Oh, cool.
Because I haven't been back there since I left when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So kind of wanted to go see the Bay, visit some family up there. But then like it's also, yeah, in a weird way, looking forward to the breaks. Because I think like the breaks are when I've been getting better about turning off my brain during breaks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um and yeah, I don't know. It's been a strange month. It's been a strange 2 weeks since last we recorded.
Yeah.
um Yeah, just a lot of. It feels like it's been a month.
There is
But it's
some
only been
feeling of
two
that.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? What else are you kind of looking forward to? Is it more shifts, more writing, more personal life stuff, more D&D?
There's some like personal stuff I'm looking forward to. For sure. Uh, I don't really want to get into it here just
Yeah,
because that's just not the
it's not the space.
not the space.
Sorry, listeners.
Sorry.
You don't get this
We're
the juicy tea.
we're pretty open here, but there are a couple things that like
Yeah.
like a lot of my life is
Right.
online. There's a few things I don't want to be.
Right. We have to
Um,
maintain a few things for ourselves.
yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
there's some of that. I'm looking forward to continuing to play D&D. Um, I I actually have a ton of feelings about D&D right now, and I'm sure we're gonna get into it soon. Um,
Yeah.
but putting that aside, I'm definitely looking forward to keep writing. I feel like I'm in a really nice flow with it, and um, I like what I'm writing in particular right now. Um,
That's
and
big.
the funny thing though is I'm not sure if I'm going to do anything with this novel. Like,
Well, that's great.
yeah, this one I feel like I sometimes when I'm writing it, I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe this is like the other two where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna like really polish this up, and then sometimes I'm like, I might truly be writing this to me. Like,
That's great. I love that.
and it's okay for that to be that way. Like,
Mhm.
partially just for the pure reason of like, when I'm done, I'm done. And like, if there's
Yeah.
something there, there's something there. And if not, one of my big fears was like, I don't want to flash in the pan of like, I wrote some stuff and then I can't figure out how to do it again. I'll
Yeah.
at least be able to say, no, I figured out how to do it. But like, like I
It's
talked
just
with,
not what I'm writing.
yeah, no, I talked to Clara recently, and not every sketch Clara makes is her like absolute favorite
Yeah.
one, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm like, why would I feel the same about even novels I've written?
Yeah.
They're just very long, so I don't get a chance to like if you make a sketch and then you're like, meh, it's like, oh, that's like that only took 20 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, right?
Mhm.
And that feels very different. But I think it's important when you're drafting even gigantic works to remind yourself that like, A, this is a sketch. B, you don't have to like the sketch. You can let that go.
Right.
You can be like,
Yeah.
and there's still a ton of value in doing that sketch.
Mhm.
So I'm definitely excited for that. I am excited for law school. Um, However, at the same time, I try and remind people of this when they're like, "Are you excited?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's my job. I like my job, but it's my job." Like,
Right. Yeah.
you know, um,
It's the thing that pays the bills or that will pay the bills. It's the thing you do that you have to do.
yeah, I'm in the most expensive and longest training program imaginable, if you
Yeah.
don't count medical school, right? Like,
Right.
or a PhD in engineering or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's all it is, right? I'm in a long job training program. Like, there are people who are so much more passionate about the law than I am, and it's not to say I don't like it. I really do enjoy it.
Right.
Um,
But you know the things that you really you
yeah,
you have your boundaries. You have your lines in the sand.
yes, I know very much what I want from law, and I know what I
Mhm.
don't want from law, and
That's
that's
good.
okay. That's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to those things. Um,
Man, I
I'm
love that.
yeah, I'm also trying to mark time a little bit differently.
Mm.
Um, like I'm trying to pay further and further attention to the seasons,
Mhm.
and because so much of the way I measure life and time is by like calendars and to-do lists and by a watch and a schedule, right?
Yeah.
But there are other ways in which time passes, right? And I get these
Mhm.
like moments of it sometimes, right? Like uh today the light came into the house differently than it had in many
Mm.
months because the sun's in a different place. I'm trying to mark
Yeah.
that, right? Like I'm waiting for the leaves to change. I'm noticing that apples are on the trees now when there had been blossoms
Oh, that's
3 or 4 months
great.
ago, right? Like I'm trying to like key into other ways in which life happens,
Mhm.
um, in an attempt to actually hold what I have in this moment, which is for me currently, time is feeling really slow, like really slow. Like when you said like it feels like 2 weeks have passed, like but it feels like a month. I'm like, yeah, every week is very long right now, and sometimes that sucks, and sometimes
Right.
but that's actually magic to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, but it also doesn't feel excruciating in its
Mhm.
slowness. You know, like I really look forward to my like weekly D&D game because you know, of course. And if you don't,
Right.
I probably should stop playing. You know, just at least just take a break. Like figure out why
Yeah.
you're not having a good time. It's a lot of time to sinking into something. You know, um,
Mhm.
and we played Saturday, and we're playing again Friday. Um, and right now I have this weird feeling of Friday feels right around the corner, and like it's never gonna come.
Mm.
And I want to live here as long as I can. I know things are going to speed up again. I know that there are probably going to be more times of excruciating slowness. Um, but this is a certain sort of like golden hour molasses sweetness. It's really good. So,
Golden hour molasses. I love that.
yeah.
Um, I think we should end the episode on that.
All right.
I definitely have more thoughts and feelings, but we can do that in another ep.
Another
Um,
app.
another ep, another day. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in this week to a
Mm-hmm.
different but familiar format of Dane and Derek. We really appreciate all of you taking time out of your day to listen to our little show, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Talk to you soon. Out here on the sand, not far from land. Sure, I'm warm, but I wish I was cold with you. Out here on the sand, not far from land. Sure, I'm warm, but I wish I was cold.